Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am just Mike, and you are watching and you are listening to episode 16 of the Rock Out Wild Show. On the docket, the main event for this episode, as you see from the title of this very video, I will rank my top 10 best and my top 10 worst WrestleMania matches of all time. They are my favorites, completely subjective. Also, I'm going to look at On This Day for April 16th, 2025. And I'm going to kick it off with a reaction of an old movie review of mine, a movie called Hercules starring The Rock. If you haven't done so yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below this very video. Click the notification bell to get all of the related content coming up on this very channel, mainly The Rock Out Wild Show. Later on, I hope to do shorts in the future, just to mix it up a little bit. So, if you also hit that like button, share this episode of the Rock Out Wild Show, share this video with everyone that you know, and spread the word of the Rock Out Wild Show. So right now, I am going to react to my movie review for Hercules starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, if you smell what he's cooking. So I'm going to hit that present shish kebab, share screen, Hercules movie review, and share the audio. All right. And I'm going to go full screen, and let's react. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Face The Rock inside the ring. Who would win? The Rock? Probably not. He would be Hercules. Damn it, he'd lay the smackdown all over his candy ass. Hey, what is up, all movie fans in the movieverse? Welcome to the Mike McRock Movie Review YouTube channel. Right now I'm going to talk about a movie called Hercules starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Rico.
And this movie, well, I'll put it to you this way. We all know the legend of Hercules. The guy who had to endure the legendary 12 labors, defeating lions, tigers, wolves, lots of animals, etc., what have you. And now he has to be the guy who is a sword for hire kind of guy. I like how he's not the king automatically. He has to work his way up there. To me, that really worked well for this movie. The process of him starting off as a nobody, then turning to a somebody at the end of this movie.
Absolutely.
To me, that was the ultimate payoff for the entire character known as Hercules. And like I said, this movie stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Hercules. He was actually not half bad. I don't think this was his best acting in a movie that he's been in. I still think the best movie that he did play in was that one Snitch.
Yeah.
Where he played a father in that movie, and he was really better in that movie than he was in this.
Mm-hmm.
But he was still really good in the sense where he was very likable as a character, even though his on-screen presence really does most of the talking for you. He's a guy that's very, very larger than life, with the muscles. You know him as The Rock, the wrestler of the WWE, so, expect him to have that on-screen, physical, imposing, yet charismatic presence that he had in this movie. And he done a decent job as Hercules.
He does.
And this is the first movie that I've seen in recent memory that actually had a really good, well-rounded supporting cast as well. To me, that is the one big quality that I really did enjoy about this movie, because to me, if you're going to have a guy with an on-screen physical, imposing presence. He needs a really good supporting cast behind him.
He does.
And to me, this movie done its job. And I like the variety of characters that they had in this movie. You had his nephew, who likes to tell stories about Hercules and other people. You had the half monster, half man guy who didn't speak at all. You also had the badass woman archer in this movie. You had the comic relief guy who kept saying that this is going to be my moment to die. He was pretty funny, I will say that.
I
And you
don't
also
remember
had the
much.
guy that just wants to get paid and leave. And he also had his payoff in the end where he came back. Yeah, it's cliched. So there were a lot of cliched moments in this movie that were just like, yeah, I saw that coming. So in a sense, this did have a lot of predictability factors with this cliched. This movie had its cheese factor. Sometimes The Rock was a little bit cheesy in this movie. I mean, it is what it is, and that's what I got overall with this movie. It is what it is. It wasn't
Really?
great. It wasn't good. It was just kind of there. This is definitely not one of the most memorable movies of 2014, and probably not one of the most memorable Hercules movies. I think I've counted what 38. That's enough. No more Hercules movies, please. But anyway, moving on
Probably
with this
isn't.
movie,
It
I
probably
love,
isn't.
like I said, one of the things I like were the supporting cast, like I mentioned earlier. And one of the other things I like is that when you had the all action sequences that felt really good because they involved some comedy aspects, I like how they threw in the comedy in the right moments, in the right spots in the action scenes that actually felt organic and they were laughable as well. And so to me that felt really natural in this movie. Were the comedy scenes that had the action aspects to it, or in any other way around too as well. There were comedy moments within the action scenes. Mostly the comedy was evolved around the action scenes. So that was another great thing I like about this movie. But there was one big issue is that this movie really lacked depth. I
Yeah.
wasn't feeling it in the first
To a
hour of
certain
this
level.
movie at all. I was kind of bored with the movie in terms of the overall feel, the surrounding
I'm just going to pause this for a moment. That is the ultimate sin a movie can make, to be boring.
atmosphere surrounding this 98-minute movie. But I will say this. I would rather see The Rock for 98 minutes of this movie, just him acting, being a badass, being a guy who's beating up all these people, rather than watching Transformers and Aaron Paul carrying another starring role. Good Jesus, I've had enough of that crap. But like I said, this movie was just okay. That's the best way I can describe this movie.
Yeah,
It's not
sure.
one of the most memorable movies, like I've said, but it's still
Yeah.
done its job. To
I
me,
really don't
going
remember
into
it.
this movie, I was expecting this to be just terrible. I was actually wrong. This was actually better than I expected. So,
Hmm.
in some sense, this was a sleeper. And one other thing that actually caught me off guard and I was really surprised with is that there was actually a good, well developed story, and it didn't happen until the last 30 minutes of this movie.
Oh,
That
really?
came unexpected. I didn't see it happening.
Huh.
And to me, this was the saving grace that kind of saved this movie. Not overall, but it did just enough to make me say, you know what?
Yeah.
This wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Interesting.
And originally I was going to give this movie somewhere around the 70s region out of 100, but looking back at it, I couldn't give it no more or no less than 65 points out of 100. So that was my
Okay.
review for the movie Hercules starring Dwayne If You Smell what The Rock is cooking Johnson. And if you saw Hercules, what did you think
Love it.
about it? Feel free to
Love it.
chime in, comment below. Tell me what did you think about this movie. And with that being said, you can also hit that subscribe button down below this video to get Mick rocked.
Yeah, so that was my movie review reaction to the movie called Hercules, starring Dwayne, if you smell where the rock is cooking, Johnson, as I put it in that outro. I tell you, I used to do good creative stuff way back when. I used to do some really cool stuff then. So, with that out of the way, let's get into some of the stuff that happened on this day of April 16th, 2025. But as of this recording, I am recording this on April 10th, so about 6 days off here. But this episode will be aired on Wednesday, April the 16th. So we're going to look at some of the stuff that happened in the world of film and television, as well as music and wrestling for April 16th, 2025. So let's share screen, some of the stuff that happened in film and television history for April 16th. Here we go. We are going all the way back here. On April 16th, 1787, the first American comedy, The Contrast, makes its debut in New York City. In 1932, short film The Music Box, released in the U.S. starring Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy. And the bracket here says 1932 Academy Award Best Live Action Short Film. In 1953, WAND TV Channel 17 in Decatur, Illinois, ABC begins broadcasting. In 1954, KVAL TV Channel 13 in Eugene, Oregon, CBS begins broadcasting. In 1958, 5th National Film Awards, India, Do Akan Bera Hath wins Golden Lotus. Correct me if I do not pronounce that correctly. In 1962, Walter Cronkite begins anchoring CBS Evening News. In 1978, NBC premiere of Ministry's Holocaust. In 1990, August Wilson's play The Piano Lesson, starring Charles S. Dutton, opens at the Walter Kerr Theater in New York City, and it runs for 320 performances. In the year 2006, on April 16th, Colin Farrell reached a confidential settlement with ex-girlfriend Nicole Marion to keep their 13-minute sex tape private. Colin Farrell had a sex tape. Who would have thought? In the year 2007, Spider-Man 3, directed by Sam Raimi and starring Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst, premieres at the Tokyo Film Festival. In the year 2017, world record for gathering of Charlie Chaplin lookalikes. 662 at Meneur de Bonn Chaplin Museum in Vevey, Switzerland. In the year 2021, Gary Sinise hosts the inauguration ceremony of the World War I Memorial in Washington, D.C. And that's all the stuff that happened for April 16th in film and television. Now let's look at some of the stuff that happened in April 16th in music. Before I do, I gotta share screen this again. All right, here we go. April 16th, the biggest music headlines. Prince scores his first and only UK #1. On this day in music, on April 16th, 1994, Prince tops the UK singles charts for the first time with The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, a romantic ballad he issued after he changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol. We all know what that is. Although Prince was still signed to Warner Brothers at the time, the label with whom he had a dispute allowed him to release the song independently as a one-off project via his own MPG imprint. It was the Minneapolis Star's last U.S. top 10 hit during his lifetime. In 1972, the Electric Light Orchestra made their live debut in London pub called the Fox and Greyhound. The Birmingham-based band, which was co-founded by ex-Move members Roy Wood and Jeff Lynne, sought to create classical-influenced rock using orchestral instruments. After Wood quit to form Wizard, the band shortened its name to ELO and went on to become one of the biggest acts of the 70s. In 1969, Desmond Dekker and the Aches became the first Jamaican act to reach the top of the UK charts with their single, The Israelites. Oh, geez. Dekker, who was born Desmond Adolphus Darcy's in Kingston, was also the first reggae performer to put a record on the US charts. Food for thought. In 2021, Mike Mitchell, guitarist with the US garage band The Kingsmen, passed away on his 77th birthday. The organ quintet is best remembered for the US hit Louie Louie, which spent 6 weeks at number 2 in 1963. It came from the album The Kingsmen in Person, which remained on the Billboard album charts for 131 consecutive weeks. In 1964, the Rolling Stones, as they keep on rolling, topped the UK album charts for the first time with their self-titled debut, which stayed at the number 1 spot for 12 weeks. In the US, it was issued under the title England's newest hit makers with a different track listing. In 1970, Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love single reached 1 million sales in the US and was awarded a gold record. Though it was scheduled as a UK single, the band manager persuaded the record label to cancel its release to preserve the group's no singles marketing policy in their home country. Makes sense. In 1977, David Soul topped the US singles charts with Don't Give Up on Us. Best known for his role as Hutch in the 70s cop show Starsky and Hutch, the singer-actor was a one-hit wonder in the US, but in Britain racked up 5 hits, including 2 number 1s, Don't Give Up on Us and Silver Lady. And as you can see here, there are some people that celebrated birthdays in the past decades on April 16th, starting with Henry Mancini in 1924. In 1939, Dusty Springfield. In 1947, Jerry Rafferty from Steelers Wheel. In 1962, Jason Schiff from Chicago. In 1964, David Piner from Soul Asylum. Runaway train, never going back. In 1970, Gabrielle. In 1971, Selena. Love Selena, by the way. In 1973, Aiken. And 1993, Chance the Rapper. And those are some of the stuff that happened on this day in music. Now let's look at some of the stuff that happened on this day in the world of professional wrestling. What do we got here? In 1994, NJPW played host to the first ever Super J Cup, a 14-man one-night tournament contested by the cream of the world's light heavyweight wrestlers. Many observers considered the tournament the best wrestling show of all time from an in-ring perspective. The tournament was won by Wild Pegasus Chris Benoit, who defeated the Great Seski in the final. In the year 2000, WCW Spring Stampede took place at the United Center in Chicago. In a first for the promotion, all of the titles in the company had been declared vacant the previous Monday when the returning Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo reset all of the storylines. As a result, a whole set of new champions were set to be crowned at this pay-per-view. The main event of the show saw Jeff Jarrett defeat Diamond Dallas Page in the final of a World Heavyweight Championship tournament that started the previous Monday. Page's wife Kimberly turned on him during the match to join the heel Millionaires Club faction. The Tag Team Championship was decided in a 4-team tournament. In the first round, Team Package, who was Lex Luthor and Nature Boy, Ric Flair defeated Ron and Don Harris, and Shane Douglas and Buff Bagwell won over Harlem Heat 2000, Stevie Ray and Big T. Bagwell and Douglas defeated Team Package for the titles in the final. The United States Championship was up for grabs in an 8-man one-night tournament won by Scott Steiner. He defeated Sting in the final, and the other entrants were Mike Awesome, The Cats, The Wall, Billy Kidman, Booker T, and Vampiro. No doubt about it. In the year 2001, on April 16th, on an episode of Monday Night Raw in Knoxville, Tennessee, Triple H defeated Jeff Hardy to win back the Intercontinental Championship he had lost to Hardy days earlier. In the year 2003, at a taping of a weekly NWA TNA pay-per-view in Nashville, Tennessee, Jerry Lynn and the Amazing Red won the NWA World Tag Team Championship from Triple X, Christopher Daniels and Elix Skipper. In the year 2007, on an episode of Raw from Milan, Italy, the Miracle in Milan took place when Santino Marella made his WWE and evidently won the Intercontinental Championship. The win came about when Vince McMahon handpicked a fan from the crowd to face Umaga for the title. Marella won with help from Umaga's WrestleMania rival, Bobby Lashley. In 2009, WWE brought back the Superstars show as a weekly 1-hour program on WGN America, and featuring one match each from Raw, SmackDown, and ECW. On the debut episode, The Undertaker defeated Matt Hardy in the main event. In 2018, on an episode of Raw from Hartford, Connecticut, Jeff Hardy defeated Jinder Mahal to win the United States Championship. And in 2020, longtime WWE ring announcer Hall of Famer and one of the company's very first employees, Howard Finkel, passed away at the age of 70. And to me, he is the best ring announcer of all time. Notable wrestling birthdays that happened on April 16th. Mia Yim, whose birthday in 1989. In 82, Joe Doring. In 1980, Paul London. In 1968, Vicky Guerrero. And in 1937, on April 16th, George the Animal Steel was born. So that's all the stuff that happened on this day in professional wrestling. So we got about 23 minutes in, and it is time for the main event of episode 16 of the Rock Out Wild Show. And that is my ranking of my favorite, best, and worst WrestleMania matches of all time. And guess what, guys? WrestleMania is just around the corner. WrestleMania 41 is happening on Saturday, April the 19th, and Sunday, April the 20th. As of this point, as of this recording, there are, I do believe, 10 matches on the card. I will do some special video going over predictions for that show sometime this week as well. So, you will all get a bonus video from me. It's either going to be a video or a short, depending on how it goes. I will be doing some predictions for WrestleMania 41 leading up to WrestleMania. I have done some WrestleMania related topics. On episode 14, I ranked my favorite Undertaker matches of all time. All the matches he had competed in WrestleMania. And then last week, as you saw, well, actually, that was episode 13. I've done the Undertaker ranking. Episodes 14 and 15 it was a two-part thing where I ranked my favorite WrestleManias of all time. And now I'm going to give to you all my top 10 best and worst WrestleMania matches of all time. And I'm going to start with the best here. I got some honorable mentions here. Chris Jericho versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 19 did not make the list, but I will give that an honorable mention. What a great matchup. Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston for the WWE title at WrestleMania 35 is another honorable mention. And I got a few more here. Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior. We're going to take out at WrestleMania 6. Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 26. Yeah, that's an honorable mention. That's the Streak versus Career match. The Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the undisputed tag team titles at WrestleMania 39, Night 1. And Edge and Mick Foley at WrestleMania 22 in a hardcore match, as well as Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair at WrestleMania 24, the career-threatening match. Let's dive into it. So what I'm going to do is, throughout this top 10, I'll talk briefly about these matches. Coming in at number 10 of my favorite best WrestleManias of all time, it is from WrestleMania 17, the Dudley Boys versus the Hardy Boys versus Edge and Christian in a TLC match. This was pretty much their part 2 from the previous WrestleMania where they done the ladder match. But this match here was so much better, and it was the best match on WrestleMania 17. You have that moment where Edge spears Jeff Hardy off the ladder. One of the most memorable moments in professional wrestling, period. And of course, you got Edge and Christian winning this match. My only little nitpick, and I probably mentioned this earlier in a previous topic, I would have had the Hardy Boys maybe win this, but I love this match overall. This is fantastic. It's the best crash test dummy type of match you will see in wrestling. Coming in at number 9 on this list, Undertaker versus Kane at WrestleMania 14. And it's really the story leading up to this that was worth it. It was the whole story of Paul Bearer and Kane. And Paul Bearer says stuff like, "Your brother is alive, Undertaker." I mean, that whole story, that whole lead up, that whole build up, tremendous. And then Undertaker realized that, oh, I have a brother in storyline here, and he's coming back for me for the vengeance. And then you get that whole thing there at what was it, In Your House with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, where Kane debuted. He ripped the door off its hinges, and he tombstone Undertaker and cost him the match. And then you're off to the races. And what a fantastic match this was. I mean, it took 3 tombstones to beat Kane, which made him look like a monster. So Kane had a really good outing here, and it's a win-win situation for everybody. Coming in at number 8 on this list, Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon in a ladder match for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 10. You'll see another match on this list from this same WrestleMania, but I'm going to talk about this first. What a fantastic match this was. This was the second ladder match that WWE has ever put out. And Michaels and Razor Ramon stole the show. Or at least one half of the show. I'll get to the other match later on this list. Yeah. You're going to have a lot of fun watching this match. Shawn Michaels took a lot of major bumps in this, and Razor Ramon took a lot of major bumps in this. It was just jam-packed with action. I mean, come on, it's Michaels and Razor Ramon. You're going to get a great match out of both of them. And at the end, Razor Ramon wins the title. Tremendous work on the part of Michaels putting Razor over here. Coming in at number 7 on this list, The Ultimate Warrior versus Macho Man Randy Savage at WrestleMania 7, the retirement match. And I love the storytelling throughout this match. Here you had, at one point, you had Macho Man Randy Savage. He's giving Ultimate Warrior elbows. He's trying to pin him. He's trying to get the win. And he's trying to figure out, what do I have to do to beat Ultimate Warrior? And same goes for the Ultimate Warrior. He's raising his hands above the clouds, trying to figure out, how do I defeat the Macho Man Randy Savage? Like, it was great storytelling out of the two of them. And then you have the whole thing with Sensational Sherry come out, and at the end you had Miss Elizabeth come out to save Macho Man Randy Savage here, and finally turning babyface again. And it's just one of those moments that if you don't feel something out of that outcome, you're not human. I'm just going to put it out there. Coming in at number 6 on this list, Hulk Hogan versus The Rock at WrestleMania 18. And you know what made this match? The crowd made this match. And if you turn this on mute, it may not be as good, but once you hear that crowd throughout this whole thing, holy crap, did they ever go nuts for this? And that's pretty much all I have to say. And that and The Rock. It's Hulk Hogan passing the torch to The Rock at WrestleMania 18. Coming in at number 5 is Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin in a submission match at WrestleMania 13. And guess what, people? This match will actually be inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame this year. That's right. WWE is putting in matches. And this is a great way to start here, because what a tremendous match this is. It's the whole thing where Bret Hart comes in as babyface. He walks out heel. Stone Cold, he comes in as heel and walks out babyface. It's probably the single best double turn you will see in a match here. And of course, you get the great visual of Steve Austin. He's bloody and he's in the sharpshooter. He is in agony. He is in pain, trying not to tap out, and he passes out from the pain. And of course, you got Ken Shamrock as a special guest referee, which was icing on the cake. This is the match that you have to see at WrestleMania 13. Coming in at number 4 on this list is Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE title at WrestleMania 40. This was pretty much the Avengers Endgame of their previous Infinity War match from 39. You had everyone involved. You had the Usos involved. You had John Cena involved. You had Solo Sikoa involved. You had The Rock involved. And the big surprise of The Undertaker involved. And then you get that whole thing where Cody Rhodes hits the 3 crossroads on Roman Reigns, and he finally pins Roman. He ends the over 1,300-day Roman Reigns streak as champion. And what a fantastic moment this was. What an emotional roller coaster of a ride of a moment this was. I love everything about this. I have no complaints with this whatsoever. Coming in at number 3 on this list, Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant for the WWF title at WrestleMania 3. I mean, when you really think about it here, and when you talk to people that are even older than I am, and I'm 39, if you talk to people that are in their 40s, maybe 50s, odds are one of the first matches people will probably say that they remember the most back in those days of the 80s is this match. It's Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant for the WWF title at WrestleMania 3 here. I mean, it's not the greatest in-ring work type of match, but it really doesn't need to be. This is for the moments. You have that moment where Hulk Hogan body slams Andre the Giant, and Andre the Giant passes the torch to Hulk Hogan. And what a great outing for Hulk Hogan here. Yeah, he tainted his legacy later on. That'll be a future topic eventually for the Rock on Wild show, but I love this match. It's the passing of the torch. It's Hulk Hogan winning. It's Hulk Hogan getting that shine, and Andre the Giant moves on. And it's just too bad he wasn't really the same after this because Andre's health throughout this match wasn't all that great. And that kind of sucks because Andre the Giant, he's a legend. He's a Mount Rushmore guy. So is Hogan. But these two went out there and done everything they could to make the audience go home happy, and they done just that. Coming in at number 2 on my top 10 favorite WrestleMania matches of all time, it's Bret Hart versus Owen Hart at WrestleMania 10. It's the classic Cain and Abel storyline. It is Bret Hart, Owen Hart going out there and putting on an absolute wrestling clinic. And to me, this is easily the best opening match out of any pay-per-view that the WWE has ever come out with. I will go that far. But there is only one that stands the test of time. My favorite WrestleMania match of all time is easily Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25, which really should have been the main event of the show. I mean, really think about it here. But come on. This match can't do no wrong. It's Undertaker. It's Shawn Michaels. It's the light versus the darkness. The best pure wrestling match you'll ever see in professional wrestling lies with this match. It's in-ring work, it's storytelling, crowd psychology, and ring psychology. All the elements that make professional wrestling what it is today lies within this match here. And that is my top 10 favorite WrestleMania matches of all time. Let's get on to the worst. Oh, there were some bad, really bad. A lot of stinkers that happened at WrestleMania over the years. There's a lot of duds. But I did manage to get some dishonorable mentions. Before I get into the top 10, I will name some dishonorable mentions for my worst WrestleMania matches of all time here. Starting with Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the Universal title at WrestleMania 34. Butterbean versus Bart Gunn at WrestleMania 15. That was hilarious. The Great Khali versus Kane at WrestleMania 23. Corporal Kirchner versus Nikolai Volkov in a flag match at WrestleMania 2. Hulk Hogan versus Sid Justice at WrestleMania 8, which had no business main eventing that show, by the way. And John Cena versus The Rock at WrestleMania 29, twice in a lifetime. Yikes. Do we need this? No. Did we need any of these matches that I'm about to present? We'll see. Let's get into my top 10 worst WrestleMania matches of all time. Coming in at number 10, The Big Show versus Aki Bono in a sumo match at WrestleMania 21. Yikes. Moving on. Coming in at number 9 on this list, Giant Gonzalez versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 9. I mean, it's clear that Giant Gonzalez couldn't move. He couldn't budge him at all. The only good thing about this is that Undertaker come out with a vulture. And the whole weird wishy-washy finish with the whole chloroform involved. And what a bunch of nonsense this was. Coming in at number 8 on this list, Big Show versus Floyd Money Mayweather at WrestleMania 24. What an absolute joke this was. What an absolute farce this was. And I'm just going to move on from there. Coming in at number 7 on this list, Randy Orton versus The Fiend at WrestleMania 37 Night 2. Oh my God. Not only was this bad, but this was disappointing. What was that whole thing with Alexa Bliss? She was up there in that thing and she starts like bleeding black or something. It was a weird visual. This whole thing was just bizarre in itself. Coming in at number 6 on this list, the Miss WrestleMania Battle Royal at WrestleMania 25. You have Santina Marella in drag, dressed up as a woman as Santina Marella, and he wins the Battle Royal. That's not the only bad thing about this match. There were like people in this match like Victoria and Molly Holly, and I didn't know they were in this match until they were actually eliminated from it. That's how bad this match ultimately was. But there's 5 more, and you think it would get worse from there. Oh, it does. Coming in at number 5 is Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30. Brock Lesnar had no business beating Undertaker and beating the streak at WrestleMania. No business whatsoever. This was bad. And my friend, while we were doing this review, said at best this match wasn't intense enough for the streak to be broken. Ultimately, it was. And what a reaction from the crowd. Yeah, it got a reaction, but it didn't get the right reaction. As what you would consider the right reaction, I have no idea. People were in shock. I was in shock. Remember that guy in the front row in this match with the white shirt on? He was in shock. Everybody was shocked in this match. Oh my god. Even the sirens out my window right now, they are telling me that Undertaker and Brock Lesnar was a horrible match as well. Coming in at number 4 on this list, Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler at WrestleMania 27. When you build a WrestleMania around your 2 top commentators, it's a recipe for disaster, and that's exactly what we got here. I think you had Jack Swagger in Michael Cole's corner, and you had I think Jerry Lawler may have had someone in his corner, but I really don't remember who. But this match was horrendous. For one thing, Michael Cole is not a wrestler, and Jerry the King Lawler really didn't need to wrestle anymore. He just didn't. I don't know why WWE wasted their time with this at all. But there are 3 more. There are only 3 more matches I'm going to get through here. Really, when you think about WrestleMania, and when you think of the worst, like the top of the top, the worst of the worst matches here, odds are you're going to talk about all 3 of these. So, coming in at number 3, Undertaker versus Roman Reigns in a no-holds-barred match at WrestleMania 33. Wow, this was sloppy. This was botchy. Undertaker is not in the best health. Roman Reigns would have been the guy to end the streak, but by this time, the streak was gone. It was not there anymore, so it didn't matter. It really Father Time just caught up with The Undertaker at this point. And you get the whole thing where Undertaker leaves his coat and boots in the ring. Yeah, it was a cool moment, but the match that came before it was just god-awful. And even Undertaker himself looked back. He actually watched this match back and said this was pretty bad. That just goes to show you how bad this match really was. Coming in at number 2 on this list, Bret Hart versus Vince McMahon in a no-holds-barred lumberjack match at WrestleMania 26. Holy crap, was this horrendous. For one thing, Vince McMahon, he's much older, so he's not going to move as well as he used to. And then you got Bret Hart here, who already gone through a heart attack and maybe a stroke, either one of the two, maybe both at this point. And so he really couldn't take any bumps anymore. So that was pretty much it. And it was a no-holds-barred lumberjack match, which probably saved it in hindsight. But at the end, this match was just a complete disaster. And the worst thing about it is that it dragged out for way too long. It just kept going on and on and on and so on. And that's all I have to say about that. But my worst WrestleMania match of all time, without a doubt, and still the single worst WrestleMania match of all time, Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg at WrestleMania 20 with Stone Cold as the special guest referee. Oh my God. These 2 guys, Lesnar and Goldberg, they did not try at all. They knew they were leaving. Brock Lesnar gave the middle finger to the audience. They just didn't try one single bit. You know, when you look at this match on paper, you would think, oh, this is going to be a badass match. No, it turned out to be lame as crap. And it really has to do with Lesnar going. He's leaving. Goldberg, he's leaving. Stone Cold is like, what the heck is going on here? After the match, he stuns both of them, which was probably the best part of the entire thing. But still, what Lesnar and Goldberg done in the ring during this time was absolutely the drizzling shits. Luckily, they made up for it much, much later and a much, much different time at a WrestleMania. But it still doesn't excuse how bad and horrendous this ultimately was. This was an embarrassment more than anything. It wasn't just a bad match, it was an embarrassment on both Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. And Stone Cold was just standing there thinking, what the heck is going on here? And that is all I have. That is my top 10 worst WrestleMania matches of all time. And that is this episode 16 of the Rock Out Wild Show. And right now, I'm going to end this episode with a quote. And it's called Perspective of the Day. Cherish the moments spent with your grown-up kids. Now, that's if you have kids here. Each shared laugh, each heart-to-heart conversation, and each memory created together is a precious gift. The bond you've nurtured over the years has blossomed into something truly special. Embrace the joy of seeing them thrive and the comfort of knowing that your love and guidance have helped shape who they are today. Take pride in the strong connection you've built and revel in the beautiful journey of watching them grow into remarkable individuals. Your role as a parent continues to evolve, but the love and memories you shared will always be a source of warmth and happiness. I am your host, Just Mike. And on a final note, to all of you watching and listening to this episode of the Rock Out Wild Show, episode 16, all around the world, get plenty of rest and always do your best.